Hi everyone, I'm Nira Khalifi and this is my attempt to create the Lotus Temple using Grasshopper. The Lotus Temple is located in New Delhi, India and designed by architect Faribor Sahba in 1986. So starting off with these three circles, I divided them to create these arcs and I used the surface edge to create the surfaces and then mirrored them to get the first volume. And I did the exact same thing to get the second volume, but with different values. In order to create the third volume, I took this polyline and exploded it, and I used the particular frames to get the midpoints and move them. And then I created lines between these 2 points to get the midpoint and move them to create this arc. And then I created surfaces using the edge surface between these curves. And then I mirrored them. And the fun thing is that we can manipulate these number sliders to generate different forms. To create the upper windows, I took these surfaces, deconstructed them to get the first edge, and I used the edge surface to create surface between these two curves, and I added quad panels to get this detail. In order to get these windows, I divided this polyline into 18 segments and then exploded it, and then I used the cull pattern to get these edges, and then I used the edge surface to create these surfaces, and then I mirrored them to get these pinched detail, and then I used the quad panels. In order to create the dome, I used the Bira plane section to split the sphere into 2 items, and then I recreated the dome and scaled it and added quad panels. And from this number slider, we can control where is the section. In order to create the interior dome, I created the relationship between these 2 polygons. The segments of this polygon will be always half. And then I took the vertices to create this polyline, and then I scaled and moved the points to create these points, to have these polylines, to create these surfaces. In order to create the interior structure, I moved and scaled these points and merged them to create this polyline, and then I piped it, and I did the same thing to create the other structure to get this structure. And here we can see that we get the openings that we wanted, and we can change these number sliders to generate different shapes. In order to create the top extrusion, I took these 2 curves, I scaled them, and then I lofted between these 2 curves. And we can control the height using these number sliders. I used Kangaroo to create the exterior floor. In order to do that, I scaled this polygon down, I lofted between them, and created the mesh. I used these points as the first anchor points. And for the second anchor points, I used the control points of the original polygon, and I took these points as the cloud by sorting them along the curve. I extruded this boundary surface to create the fountain, and used offset to create this edge. And then I extruded it. I used Kangaroo on the form as well. So I took the surfaces and created the meshes, and I took the naked boundary as the anchor points, and I added pressure. And for the animation, I added materials on the geometries, and I controlled the camera using this Vera timeline slider